Why is this man smiling? He coaches the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks were down and they couldn't win with starting center Moses Malone, so they sat him down and gave John Koncak a chance to earn his money. And it's been working. What about Dominique Wilkins? Well, that's right. He's still Dominique, and he's fired up about Hotlanta and their rise in the Central Division. Presents San Antonio Spurs basketball. Tonight's game is brought to you by Miller Lite, the only beer with the taste big enough for Texas. By Geo, get to know Geo, available right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers. By True Value Hardware Stores, got a tough job to do, they'll see you through it. You can do it with True Value Hardware Stores. By Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut is making it great. By your Texas Jeep Eagle dealers. And by Southwest Airlines, celebrating 20 years of loving you. Live from the Omni in Atlanta, Home Sports Entertainment presents San Antonio Spurs basketball. Tonight the Spurs visit Dominique Wilkins and the Atlanta Hawks, and the Spurs come in off an emotional overtime victory at the Spectrum in Philadelphia last night. A last-ditch three-pointer by Charles Barkley, and the follow by Ricky Green missing at the end of regulation. It was 96 all. David Robinson dominating inside of the overtime period, finishing with 31 points. The defensive play of the night, stripping Hersey Hawkins in overtime. And all night long, defensively and offensively, with 25 points, Sean Elliott came up big, and the Spurs took it 111-102. Welcome to Atlanta. Dave Barnett along with Kobe Dietrich. The Spurs finally reached the end of this 5-game road trip, the span of 11 out of 15 games on the road, and they have thrived under the circumstances. They've won 13 of their last 15, 9 of their last 10 on the road. Atlanta equally high. They've won 6 straight overall, 9 straight here at home, and 14 of their last 17. But Kobe, the Spurs can look with a lot of pride at the way they were able to come from 9 back in the fourth quarter in Philadelphia last night.
Well, there's no doubt that was a special win. Everybody was very high after that game. The Spurs are just gaining more and more mental toughness and confidence that if they can do what they do, which is play defense, that they're able to come up with the offensive plays. And I think the three-pointers, the free throws when they have to have them, just gives them that much more confidence that they can win anywhere and on any night.
And in any circumstances, the circumstances last night included not having Terry Cummings at their disposal. He'll miss tonight's game as well with back and groin problems. It falls in a pattern because in that Detroit game, he missed the second half. Paul Pressey, Byron Dink, and Sidney Green missed the entire game. Green out in that Phoenix overtime win. And then no TC last night, but what it meant was this man came up huge. He had 13 rebounds, a season high for David Greenwood. Battled discomfort all night long because of his hip pointer. And he admits that's not the best team in the world to have to go up against when you're hurting.
Yes, Rick and Barkley and Gilliam are very physical ball players, and to have to go down there and bang with them, and they always push you up in the back, and that's where my pain is, up and in the lower back. It was very, very hard to keep running up and down the court last night.
How's it feel as you warm up tonight?
It feels a lot better. It's still sore, but you know, we have another job to do tonight, so we just try to bite down on the bullet and play another game.
Atlanta's turned it around. Bob Weiss, Coach of the Month for December, and Dominique Wilkins, Player of the Week for last week.
Well, Bob came into this on this team. It's his first year. They started a little slow, and then he did something that's really difficult to do, is take a guy like Moses Malone out of the lineup, 25,000 NBA points, on nearly 15,000 rebounds. But it seems to change the whole perspective of the rest of the team. Of course, you got Dominique Wilkins, who is a whole nother level, and he's been playing very good, especially in this building.
Two hot teams going together. We'll return for the lineups in Atlanta in a moment.
I've set the time machine ahead 40 years.
Cold filtered, never heat pasteurized Miller Genuine Draft.
Don't worry, Judy. I'm sure the future will be a very cool place.
For those who discovered its real draft taste, the world is a very cold place.
It worked.
Big boys love their toys. That's why there's the Chevy half-ton short box extended cab. More room than Ford for the boys. More payload for the toys. And big boys can still put their toys away at night. Another reason more people are switching to the heartbeat of America.
Today's truck is Chevrolet.
When I was in college, I lived over a bakery. I could have majored in sourdough bread. I'd open the window, that smell would come wafting in, and I'd be a goner. Now, Jack in the Box has taken a burger and put it on golden grilled sourdough bread. Time for a little homework.
Sourdough makes the burger. The grilled sourdough burger at Jack in the Box. For exciting new taste, this is the place.
I love this subject.
The best of Southwest Conference basketball here on Home Sports Entertainment. Professional boxing on Home Sports Entertainment.
Welcome back to the Omni in Atlanta. The 18-13 Hawks, the 22-7 Spurs. That's the best record through 29 games any Spur team has ever had. And they go for their 4th straight win in this one tonight. They've lost 5 straight in this building in Atlanta. Jekyll and Hyde under head coach Bob Weiss, who, because of the turnaround in December, the NBA Coach of the Month for that month. And look at how different November was. 4-10, being outscored 112-107. In December, 11-3, outscoring the opposition 111-107. So far in January, they're perfect, and the offense continues to get better, as does the defense. So statistically, it backs up what you were talking about, Kobe, the fact that they've all made an adjustment since Moses Malone was taken out. The on-court chemistry, obviously, much better.
Well, there's some, you've got Concac and Battle, 2 guys that are listed at 7 feet to handle the board work, and that really leaves a guy like Dominique Wilkins just free to just do all the things that he's capable of doing. They really have a nice chemistry, and to back them up, they've got Sidney Moncrief and Moses Malone sitting there that can come in any kind of a situation. They've been in 1,000 games each, and and it really gives them a nice team.
Well, tonight's tip of the game brought to you by True Value Hardware Stores. You pry, pull, and pound, but that old can of paint won't open. Well, when you're finished painting, wipe off all the excess on the lid and rim of the can. It will keep it from sticking, and then brush a touch of paint on the can, and you'll know the color right away. That is tonight's True Value tip of the game. Terry Cummings continues to rest his weary back and groin pull. 2nd straight night for no TC in uniform for the Spurs. So our Southwest Airlines starting lineups as they were last night: Elliott, Greenwood, Robinson, Anderson, and Strickland. And for Atlanta, Dominique Wilkins and Kevin Willis are the forwards. John Concac at center. Glenn Rivers at 1 guard, and Spud Webb misses his 3rd straight game with a hamstring pull. So Rumeal Robinson, the #1 pick out of Michigan, gets the start opposite Doc Rivers in the backcourt. Steve Javie, Jim Clark, Derek Stafford are the officials, and the Hawks control the tap. And here's Robinson. Outstanding, of course, in their championship run a couple of years ago. They have the deciding free throws in the finals against Seton Hall. Banging underneath is Kevin Willis, and it's 2-0 Hawks. Willis somewhat lost in the shadow of what Wilkins has been doing, but this is the best he's played in several years since he had foot problems. Robinson underneath to Greenwood. Rod Strickland with a huge game last night. Shot clock at 4. Long one, not quite long enough for Willie Anderson and Rumeal Robinson to bring it up.
Well, we're going to see two teams. The Atlanta Hawks run a play every single time down. They'll run it, but they like to set up and run their patterns.
Ooh, Willis long by about 2 feet. Not the way that one was designed. Good feed inside Robinson, and Anderson got rejected.
Really good read there by Doc Rivers. Recognized Willie was going to the weak side.
Rumeal Robinson on the crossover move. 4-0 Atlanta. Elliott against Wilkins. Sean shut down Dominique, particularly in the second half in December in San Antonio. They'll call contact on contact in the matchup with Robinson.
Will be interesting. This is an interesting parallel to the game in San Antonio. That in San Antonio, the Hawks played a tough game against Houston the night before and came into San Antonio and didn't expect to have much and really played a perfect game to beat the Spurs. See how much the Spurs have been talking a little bit about payback, but we'll see how much they have emotionally.
Rod Strickland rims it out. Dominique there for the rebound. Yeah, the win at Houston and then the next night at San Antonio, season turners for Atlanta. And the win after that Atlanta game did the same for the Spurs as Wilkins knocks down his 34th three-pointer of the year.
He's just been smoking from the three-point line over the last 5 or 6 games.
Hawks 3 of their first 4 and on top 7-0. Robinson off the glass to get the Spurs off 0. 9:50 in the first quarter. Robinson and Strickland got tangled up. No whistle. Three-pointer. Doc Rivers. And a hard-fought rebound for Dominique. After that home loss to Atlanta, 110-108 on the last second shot by Rivers. Spurs had a nice comeback over Boston. They haven't looked back since then. First 2 by contact, 9-2.
Well, the 2 things that put Atlanta over the top in San Antonio is they shot 19 from 20 from the free throw line and then out-rebounded the Spurs.
One of only 5 teams to do that this year. And Greenwood, 55% shooter. Atlanta, a good rebounding team, but not in the Spurs league. They're 10th. The Spurs continue to be a solid first. Robinson rebounded by Greenwood. Strickland had Willie Anderson on the flank. New haircut for the birthday boy. Willie turning 24 today in his hometown of Atlanta. We wish him happy birthday. Elliott on the drive, tap by David Robinson. Early out of the cylinder, nobody argued. 9-6.
A sneaky tap.
Wilkins, the high floater. In that game at San Antonio, Elliott held him to 15 points, 2 in the second half, nothing in the fourth quarter.
Guys, when Dominique Wilkins gets it going, you got to try to figure out what you want to give up. Willie hits a nice shot off the good pick, but the dangerous thing about giving up trying to play the shot and letting him drive is that he ends up shooting a lot of free throws as he draws fouls.
Hawks again get contact. That play, the pick and roll, where they just tore the Spurs up in the first meeting, and you saw the immediate adjustment. Greenwood popping out to deny the first option, and John Concac not known necessarily for a good outside shot. Therefore, among the options, that's probably the one they want every time. Three-pointer, Noah 2, and Anderson rattled it out. Robinson to Willis. He can run the floor.
Well, Mr. Willis was almost looking down into the hoop on that shot.
No, I think he was looking down. He was limited because of the foot problems a couple of years in a row. Big year 4 years ago. And just about back to speed now. This will be the second foul on John Concac. Immediate trouble in the matchup with David Robinson. So Moses Malone heals the sweats and gets ready.
Well, this is another kind of an NBA night again for David Robinson. He's trying to figure out what he can do against John Concac, who is a very heavy player, probably outweighs David 30-40 pounds easy. And so David's trying to use a little quickness on him and trying to draw some fouls. He's been really effective so far.
Was he effective at the line last night? He was 13 of 16, including 7 straight when they needed him in the fourth quarter and overtime. Led the Spurs with a 31-point total. Leads him tonight with already 6 of the first 10.
A nice night at the office.
All the way around. That's as happy as I've ever seen the Spurs after a win. And the bus on the plane the whole night. Wilkins obviously remembers what happened to him in Hemisphere Arena. Out to change the pattern tonight. Robinson. Now Anderson running one-hander. The pattern continues for Willie. He was on fire at Atlanta, or Orlando I should say, Saturday with a season high 27 points. It was off last night and he's back on tonight. Oh, nobody guarding Wilkins, and Robinson got the big rejection. Now they'll call Willie for the reach-in foul. First foul against the Spurs after from nowhere the Robinson rejection. Timeout with 6:28 in the first. Atlanta by 5.
Fire up the new Eagle Talon, and you've got a power tool that handles like a dream in the corners. Cuts clean across any surface and nails the competition every time. Eagle Talon, the one power tool you won't be so willing to lend to the guy next door.
See your Texas Jeep Eagle dealer, where you can expect the best.
It's over. The tree has lost its glitter. The fruitcake is fossilized. And you're besieged by the gentle reminders of Christmas past. That's why Pizza Hut introduces the $5.99 pepperoni pizza deal. $5.99. Get a delicious pepperoni pan pizza at a never-before low price. But you'd better hurry because, unlike the fruitcake, this deal won't last forever.
Pizza Hut, making it great.
Top Rank presents Night of the Heavyweights. Ray Mercer, a former Army sergeant, an Olympic gold medalist, Francesco Damiani, the WBO heavyweight champion. Also featured, the star of Rocky V, Tommy Morrison, continues his real-life career in the ring. Live, January 11th.
Well, Kevin Lockery, the assistant for Bob Weiss with the Hawks, called for a technical foul right as we went to that timeout. Now one more look, Robinson with the rejection. I think Dominique, you noticed him saying nice block
when he was laying on the floor.
And then they call Willie Anderson for the foul. We have to surmise, as Strickland misses the tee, that Lockery argued that Robinson rather than Anderson should have been called. Early shooting. Big edge for Atlanta. They lead 17-12.
Well, the Lock will be donating some money to Rod Thorne, his old coaching buddy in the league office.
Moses Malone. Rebounded by Robinson. Moses at 35 years of age in his 15th pro season. Elliott short. Robinson. Hawks give up a lot of flat-out speed when Spud Webb is injured. Look for them to rely more than ever on the half-court pounded down offense. And here is Willis, unable to take advantage of Greenwood. And Strickland, nice stop and go move, triple teamed, knocked out of bounds. Spur ball. Third straight game Anthony Spud Webb has to spend on the bench because of his hamstring. Elliott throwing it in the vicinity of Greenwood, who didn't expect it. Rumeal Robinson, stop and go move. Hawks by 7. Robinson in his 12th start. Weiss very pleased with the progress of his rookie first rounder. Robinson against Malone. Quickly the double team from Wilkins, and the open jumper missed by Willie Anderson. Wilkins, Greenwood, Elliott all battling for the rebound, and the foul will go on David Greenwood, his first.
Dominique really takes control of this rebound in a crowd. Comes down, draws the foul from David Greenwood.
Wilkins probably rebounding better than he ever has. Last 5 games, 12 boards per game. He and Elliott banging one another. They look like Rick Mahorn and Greenwood last night. They'll call Sean Elliott, and he'll immediately try and tell Steve Javy he started his first, team's third.
These kind of things are such an arbitrary decision on the part of the officials. You saw Rick Mahorn last night just beating up David Robinson.
As Doc Rivers from the top of the key nails another one. This has got to worry the Spurs because it's exactly the way Atlanta shot in the first game.
Well, they started out hot in San Antonio and just continued throughout the game. But the Spurs stayed right with them.
Illegal defense. They'll get a smiling Wilkins for the illegal D. Caught about 30-40 feet away from his man Sean Elliott. 48-year-old Bob Weiss was the head coach for the Spurs prior to Larry Brown. 86 through 88. Double teamed every time Robinson gets the ball. Greenwood almost turned it over. Whistle blew on Kevin Willis, his first, team's third foul.
David goes by Kevin here. You hardly ever get away with that kind of a play. But Kevin Willis made an attempt at it anyway.
Down the baseline goes Willie. Nice job. Wraparound reverse as he is fouled. And it's 2 in a row on Willis.
They see Willie go by 3 guys here and get the reverse layup and the foul.
Spurs will get a 3-point opportunity after the Willis foul and a chance to come within 6. Talking with Willie last night about returning home, and he admits that his first 2 years he let it get to him. The fact that he knew he'd be under the microscope. Here's Tim McCormick in for Willis. Unusual for McCormick. He hadn't played the last 4 games. Sidney Green in for the Spurs, replacing Greenwood, and Paul Pressey also in, replacing Rod Strickland. Willie said, I got too nervous just because it was my hometown, and finally this year I'm able to treat this as just another game. Obviously it's working. He's got 7 in the first quarter.
And there's also a lot of distractions involved. You only play in Atlanta one time, and everybody wants tickets, and your family, and I mean it can be it throws you out of what you normally do during the day.
Well, funny you should mention tickets. He's got a new policy. Dominique again on the baseline. 9 in the first quarter. Wilkins has him back up by 8. Willie's new policy is family gets comps, friends pay. So you can go broke if you try and buy every friend a ticket. Elliott hard on the offensive glass and then lost control, and Rivers kicks to Robinson. Rumeal Robinson inside of Sidney Green. And Green with the foul that you need to make in this situation.
Well, Rumeal is he's such a strong player. He looks like he really is getting his confidence, and draws the foul there.
Larry Brown, mini clinic for Rod Strickland. This is the first time the Hawks have gone to the line. They've done it all from the field. Robinson is strong, 195 pounds at just 6'2", so that's a powerful, compact build at point guard. Averages 7 points, already has 6. And it's a 10-point Atlanta lead. Robinson and Pressey. And David stepping right through a triple team at the bottom of the rim. Robinson again to push it up. Pressey got back. Robinson went right past him. And the backhander gives them a 12-point advantage. And gets Larry Brown up for a timeout. 3:10 in the first. Atlanta showing why they've won 9 straight in this building. Rumeal Robinson gives them a 12-point, 27-15 lead.
Fire up the new Eagle Talon and you've got a power tool that handles like a dream in the corners. Cuts clean across any surface and nails the competition every time. Eagle Talon, the one power tool you won't be so willing to lend to the guy next door.
See your Texas Jeep Eagle dealer, where you can expect the best.
The reason Robert isn't leaving is not because he doesn't want to be beaten on the basketball court. It's because he doesn't want to be beaten at home.
If you know of or suspect a case of child abuse, do something about it.
This message is brought to you by Laurel Ridge.
Tennis Magazine covers everything you want to know about tennis, from instruction to equipment, pro tennis to resorts.
If tennis makes you feel good, a subscription to Tennis Magazine will make you feel great.
Subscribe to Tennis Magazine now. Only $9.97 for 12 issues. Call 800-892-9000. We'll include 2 free booklets on improving your game. Tennis Magazine. Call 800-892-9000 now.
Now a look at what's on tap for the Spurs on HSE. 7:30 Wednesday, January 16th, at home against the Dallas Mavericks. The following Friday, home against Charlotte. Tuesday the 22nd, the LA Clippers at Hemisphere Arena. All 3 games are live here on HSE. It is 27-15 Atlanta. 3:10 to go first quarter. Hawks hitting 67%. Spurs 38%. And Atlanta again out rebounding San Antonio 9-6. Robinson hammered on Tim McCormick.
They ended up with Dominique Wilkins trying to front David. And then they were getting help from the weak side. Paul Pressey just lobs the ball over the top. And Tim McCormick tries to come to help on the weak side and draws the foul. Atlanta's got a lot of bodies they can throw in, and they really have a lot of fouls to use on David tonight.
And it looks like they're ready to use every foul. They've made up their minds that he will not beat them one-on-one. Big tip-off that they're willing to use fouls is the fact that they're playing McCormick at all. Have not gotten off the bench in their last 4 games. Backdoor, and the bank hook shot goes for Doc Rivers.
Tough shot.
You're hitting a lot of tough shots. Elliott had a step on Dominique and answers with his first bucket. 25 in Philadelphia last night. One of his top 3 offensive performances of the year. Rivers having a big year off injuries. Pick and roll. McCormick somehow got that one through David Robinson.
David is shaking his head. He knows he should have got that one.
It was so lacking in flow that it threw David off enough that he couldn't get the rejection. Willie on the run, rebound Malone. Hawks look for a 14-point lead. We're under 2 minutes in the first. And they turn it over. Anderson stripped by Rumeal Robinson, but it went to Elliott. And they leave Sidney Green all alone. Atlanta hitting very low percentage shots, and the Spurs missing some open shots. Now 7 of 19 from the field. 3-pointer gets an unusual result, and the end result is a jump ball in that end. Next home game, Spurs finally return to Hemisphere Arena against Nick Anderson and the Orlando Magic Thursday. Tickets available, about 1,500 as of this afternoon, at the Arena box office, all Rainbow Ticketmaster outlets, or by calling 554-SPUR. If you've been looking for a chance to see the Spurs at home, this would be a good one when they come back on Thursday. Elliott replaced by Rod Strickland. Spurs go with a 3-guard attack, as does Atlanta. John Battle is checking. Willie Anderson around Wayne Farrell, and Malone got a block. Spurs howl, but no whistle, and Robinson misses underneath. Not a good period as we hit 1 minute. course, either wanted a foul or goaltending. They may have wanted goaltending even worse. Green on Malone. Robinson to the shot clock at 2. Battle. John Battle, the third best scorer off the bench in the NBA, behind only Ricky Pierce and Kevin McHale. Wrap around. Robinson thought better. Went to Pressey. 27 seconds and 11 to shoot. Down by 14. 3-pointers. Strickland. That might be a start. Rod, who had 21 last night, including a huge 3-pointer.
Really adds another dimension to his game.
Well, they need somebody to open it up with outside shots because the inside is clogged. They double team Battle. 3 seconds. McCormick at the buzzer. Ends a near perfect first quarter for the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta 16 of 23 from the field in the first quarter. And they take a 13-point advantage. 35 to 22. Might well have been goaltending.
You're watching Spurs basketball on Home Sports Entertainment.
Why should you buy from Smith Chevrolet? Attitude. No games, no gimmicks. We think you'll like our straight talk, professional approach better. Financing. We have many credit options available, and we'll find the payment plan that's best for you. Price. Our low overhead downtown location means low prices for you. We'll do what it takes. Come see us at Smith Chevrolet Geo on Broadway. We'll do what it takes.
In about an hour, you can get a desirable new look. A glowing look. An approachable look. In about an hour, get the one look that's right for you at iMaster's Optical Superstore with eyewear specialists to help. And in-store labs, so even no-line bifocals and trifocals are ready in about an hour. For the look you've been looking for, in about an hour, get a better look at iMaster's. Buy one, get one free, or we'll pay up to $40 for your eye exam.
It's over. The tree has lost its glitter. The fruitcake is fossilized. And you're besieged by the gentle reminders of Christmas past. That's why Pizza Hut introduces the $5.99 pepperoni pizza deal. $5.99, Get a delicious pepperoni pan pizza at a never-before low price. But you'd better hurry because, unlike the fruitcake, this deal won't last forever.
Pizza Hut, making it great.
Southwest Airlines game summary after one quarter. The Hawks 70%, Spurs 36%. Koncak and Willis early foul trouble. Hawks with a 12-8 rebound advantage, and Dominique Wilkins off to an outstanding start. As are the Hawks in general. 35-22 Atlanta. Wayne Shinsis in the game despite taking a fearsome fall last night, sandwiched between Rick Mahorn and Armand Gilliam. Paul Pressey knocks a long one down. Pressey, the most accurate shooting Spur, 56% from the field.
Hit some big shots last night to keep him in it, too.
Sidney Moncrief in for Atlanta, along with Battle, McCormick, Malone. And McCormick turns, misses. Malone battling hard, stripped by Sean Higgins, who begins the quarter. But they'll call the foul on Higgins.
Just another long line of offensive rebounds for Moses Malone.
Well, it is officially 14,713 total rebounds in his career. And that is 27,352 points. He's the active scoring leader in the NBA, 5th all-time rebounder, a 6-time rebounding champion. Are you surprised that he hasn't squawked about the fact that his minutes have been severely cut?
No. Moses Malone is he's a kind of player you like playing with. He's a working man's player. You know, as long as things are going well, you know, I think he's going to contribute where he can. I mean, he recognizes where he is in his career, I think.
Will turn 36 before the season is out. That foul was on Dwayne Farrell. Sidney Green, able to start in Orlando Saturday, came through season high 8 rebounds. 3-time MVP. Moses Malone. And the Spurs within 11. Shinsis in the matchup with McCormick. Green guarding Moses. And McCormick backing down Shinsis. Badly missing on about a 3-foot attempt. Little rust on Tim McCormick. Sidney Green will get the roll and count the bucket. They will get the loose ball foul called on McCormick, his and the team's second.
Paul Pressey gives this ball up across court to Sidney Green. That's a tough shot going right at the basket, but Sidney's got the good touch and it manages to get it to go. I think they called was that a foul on Moses or McCormick on the rebound? So Dwayne Shinsis gets the free throw.
They call it on McCormick, so a 2-man 3-point play in effect. And the Spurs battle back within 8. Down by 13 at the end of the first quarter. They isolate Higgins against Dwayne Farrell, 3rd-year pro from Georgia Tech, off the glass. Just about everything they're throwing up. It doesn't matter how awkward the shot, they're all falling.
Sean did a good job, got his hand on the ball, and still managed to Farrell still managed to make the shot.
Hooked by Shinsis off target. And the Spurs, Sidney Green called for the loose ball foul, his and the team's second. Stop by any Taco Cabana and register for the Piñata Bash. If you completely break the piñata in half, you get $250. If the piñata is not broken, all prize monies carry over to the next home game, upped by $100, and all entries eligible to win a week-long trip to Hawaii, courtesy of Taco Cabana. Farrell again over Higgins. Cut right before the start of the season, re-signed on November 2nd. Atlanta getting some contributions from unlikely sources tonight, and that will be the 3rd foul on Sidney Green. They called him for an illegal screen.
Well, here's Sidney Green trying to get down on the box to set a pick for Sean Higgins, and McCormick just stood in there. And was that a little bit of Lambertism that we saw there?
A lot like, exactly, a lot like what Laimbeer might have done in a similar situation. So Green sits with his 3rd foul. And back into the game, the Admiral. 41-29 Atlanta. Alley-oop knocked away by Robinson, comes down to Sidney Moncrief. Flashing across the paint was McCormick, and he draws contact by Rod Strickland, his first. Hawks just kind of have the Spurs back on their heels.
There's a lob pass to Farrell on the weak side, and David managed to get his hand on it. And that's Sidney Moncrief dishing it to McCormick, coming right down the lane, and nothing much Strickland Rod could do but foul him.
Willie Anderson back in for Sean Higgins. 7-point first quarter for Willie. A neat little move by Robinson that time. Deliberately stepped into the lane early, then back out, trying to get McCormick off his rhythm. It didn't work. And Atlanta leads by 13. Underneath, Robinson, triple team, doesn't matter. He's got 10 points. And Kobe that time went to the move before they could really set the triple team around him. Is that what he's got to continue to do?
Well, as he was coming to that spot, Rod already had the ball on the way, which really helps David.
And David with the steal. Battle fumbled it away. 2-on-2, Pressey and Strickland. Paul Pressey leans in, hits to make it 42-33. And the Spurs try to force the issue. Again, pressure on Battle by Robinson. 3-pointer Moncrief. Rebounded by Strickland. And taken right back, and Pressey grabbing Moncrief from behind that time. That's one way to prevent a fast break. 4th team foul.
Well, Rod sort of gets up here and can't get that pass off, and there's Sidney Moncrief. He knows where the right place to be is. Paul has to grab him to prevent an easy layup at the other end.
Concact
Good decision.
returns.
Good decision.
Not many turnovers. That almost cost the Spurs the game last night. Too many easy opportunities off turnovers for Philadelphia. That kept them in the game the whole night. Underneath contact by Shinsis, his first 5th against the team. Look at the elbows. We replay. Right there. And McCormick back to the line. Shinsis says that he hurt his knee, he bruised it, and he sprained a ligament or strained a ligament in that move by Rick Mahorn last night. But he says what hurt worst of all was his ego, the fact that he allowed that to happen. But
that he got tossed.
But you can understand it because his mind was concentrating on rebounding and not on the type thing that Mahorn likes to sidetrack you with.
He learned something. I think he learned something about Rick Mahorn. He'll react differently next time. Of course, that'll be next year.
Floats the hook up long. 43-33. Atlanta looking to run. John Battle around Rod Strickland, and the tap goes by Dwayne Farrell.
Dwayne did a good job on helping there and forced the miss. But Dwayne Farrell was on the boards and tapped in the rebound.
Well, there's one more bit of news about the Shinsis Mahorn situation last night. Spurs general manager Bob Bass telling Rod Thorne in the league office to look at that thing on the replay as Robinson hits on the baseline, because in Bob's estimation, they might want to look into a possible fine for Mahorn. A flagrant situation, in his opinion, that was not called. Didn't even turn into a foul, which doesn't mean you can't be fined. Willie Anderson on the steal. Robinson lost his footing, kept the ball alive. Strickland for 3. Rebound McCormick. 17-11 on the boards in favor of Atlanta. That's a key indicator. When they win on the glass, they usually win. If you out-rebound Atlanta, they usually lose. Battle around the screen by McCormick, and Shinsis got a piece of the ball, but also a piece of the shooter, and that's his second. Atlanta calls time. 6:32 to go in the first half. 45-35 Hawks.
I grew up in Texas.
On this, our 20th anniversary, Southwest Airlines proudly unfurls Lone Star One, a high-flying tribute to the indomitable spirit that makes Texas a true state of mind.
Shining in the Texas sky, the Lone Star is flying high.
We're rolling. Okay, here we are enjoying America's game and America's light brew. Show them a Miller Lite. I'll get a shot. All right. Whoa, what's this? 45,000 prizes. Scratch it off. We're going to the Super Bowl. Tampa? Tampa! Road trip! We need food and a new car. So which way to Tampa? Follow that guy. Hey, wait up!
Only one beer has your tickets to Super Bowl 25. Look for details wherever Miller Lite is sold.
And this is our 1991 Chevy S10EL. Let me point out a few features. Electronic fuel injection, power front disc brakes, rear brake system, double wall steel, front and rear. 5-speed, full gauges, tinted glass. What do you think?
So, what will I get for this price?
Let me show you.
The 91 Chevy S10EL. For value, more people are winning with today's Chevy truck.
Tonight's San Antonio Spurs telecast is brought to you in part by Jack in the Box Restaurants. For exciting new taste, this is the place. Atlanta 45, the Spurs 35. 6:32 to go in the first half. Here's the story for Atlanta this year. When they win the battle of the boards, they're 12-1. When they lose on the boards, they're only 4-12. And against the best rebounding team in the NBA, they've been dominant early. What do you see that's got to change in the regard to the Spurs on the glass tonight?
Well, it's tough without Terry Cummings, you know, one of the big board strengths for the Spurs. You know, Atlanta's got a lot of big bodies and some really good rebounders. I mean, Dominique Wilkins can rebound the ball at both ends from anywhere. And of course, Moses and Koncak are just, and Willis, they just got great size. So they're just going to have to work at it.
Now, the other problem has been the shooting. And another problem as Willie Anderson took his eye off the ball. Fans want him to be called for a tee. But I think because the officials knew that he was mad at himself and not mad at any one of them, they decided to let this go.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to demonstrate a bad call, which is what the officials really, really don't like.
No, if he's showing up anybody, he's showing up himself. Doc Rivers back in the game. This is Greenwood, who flashes in front of McCormick. The shooting for Atlanta, are they getting shots that if you're the Spurs defense, you want them to take?
Well, it is, you know, when you talk about different guys, Farrell came in there and Farrell, the new guy, Farrell.
Robinson got a big block.
You know, but Dominique he's been just lighting it up in this building over the last 5 or 6 games, and it's tough to whether you want to guard the outside shot or keep him from going to the hoop. You know,
Robinson going to the hoop, and look at the traffic he draws. They will call a foul, though. Dominique Wilkins getting after Derek Stafford, the official who made the call.
I think David's made a couple of quick moves in the lane where he moves so quickly that you don't really see where he gets hit. And if they've got that one on Dominique, that was pretty late in that play.
Well, they still haven't signaled it.
They're having a conference.
Steve Javy and Derek Stafford trying to get straight on who will be called. And Wilkins following Stafford. Well, I think one result will be a goaltend, and now Bob Weiss is the guy that wants an explanation. Well, here it is again. Technical foul on Dominique. That's the second technical on Atlanta. No way that could be goaltending, although it looked as if for an instant they were going to call goaltending. And as Neek continues to protest, Sean Elliott will shoot the technical. But they still haven't put up a foul against Wilkins. Spurs have missed both the technical free throws. Well, all that came out of that evidently was the technical. No personal. They do call goaltending. They call him for, I think, having his hand on the rim. Ramil Robinson back into the game. They call him for holding the left hand on. That's the third time we've seen it. The first time it's that evident. Good job on the replay. 47-37. Rivers with a miss. Rebound, David Robinson. Spurs can cut it to 8. Offensive foul. They give it right back up. Greenwood called for a second. He had just arrived. Can you spell makeup?
Well, it's Tim McCormick one more time, able to draw a foul with somebody trying to post him up or move him down the lane. He's getting a lot of respect from the officials tonight, which looks like normal contact.
Clear out. Wilkins against Sean Elliott. And some friends. And that will be out of bounds off Dominique. 9 of his 11 points in the first half. Sean holding him off that time. Much the way he did Charles Barkley. Good stretch of last night. All year long, anybody from Kevin Johnson all the way up to Bill Laimbeer. Victimized by Sean's improving defense. Another offensive foul on Greenwood. Now, he kind of shrugged off the last one, not this one. He says, I was the guy that was grabbed. That's trouble. That's his third. And already without Cummings, the Spurs don't need any more shorthandedness, so they've got to get Dwayne Shinsis back in.
We saw a shot there that time down where Sean Elliott was guarded by McCormick. One of the problems with the passing game is that the Spurs don't recognize situations like that as a team and clear aside for somebody who's as effective at going by people as Sean. You know, as a team, you got to recognize who's vulnerable and who you need to attack.
Wilkins over Robinson, who popped out to help. Didn't matter. 13 for Dominique. Atlanta again by 12. Willis in the matchup with Shinsis. Contact on Robinson, who almost turned it over. Leans in through the double team. He's going to his move a little quicker this quarter. Long pass. Wilkins fouled by Elliott, his second. A couple of times last night, the Sixers caught the Spurs in a similar situation.
Yeah, Barkley got a lot of transition hoops last night. Seemed to be bothering Sean. Dominique beats him down the court. Didn't look like a foul at all there.
But it was. Atlanta's been called for 2 team fouls in the quarter. Spurs have been over the bonus for a while. 4:32 still to go. Don't forget, back home against Orlando Thursday. Tickets available. The Arena box office, Rainbow Ticketmaster outlets, or by calling 554-SPUR. Underneath, Robinson couldn't get it. Wilkins had a hand on it, messed up the whole idea. And Kevin Willis again runs the floor. And it's Atlanta by 14.
Kevin's putting a lot of wear and tear on that hoop down there.
Brown up for a timeout. 4:10 remaining in the first half in the Omni. Kevin Willis adding to what's now a 14-point Atlanta advantage, and a technical foul just given David Greenwood on the bench.
Gilman Mitsubishi, the word is getting around, and customer satisfaction is a reason why, before, during, and after the sale. Gilman Mitsubishi wants to put you in a brand new ultra-slick 1991 Eclipse starting at just $99.91, or this brand new 1991 Galant starting at $11,591, the family sedan everyone is talking about. You don't want to miss this sale. Take I-35 North to the Selma Schertz exit. Gilman Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
Ladies and gentlemen, HBO presents an evening of classy entertainment for you on Paragon Cable with one heck of a class act.
Oh, you're all my friends.
And Roseanne doesn't ask much from her friends.
I'll make a little deal with you. You give me just a little bit of you. And I'll give you all of me.
Take all of her. Roseanne Barr exclusively on HBO January 5th and 9th at 9 Central, 10 Pacific on Paragon Cable.
Tonight's San Antonio Spurs telecast is brought to you in part by Southwest Airlines, offering you everyday low fares and convenient flights to many exciting destinations.
Well, Dominique Wilkins hits the technical free throw after David Greenwood was slapped with the tee. He says he didn't deserve it. You could read his lips during the timeout. He's saying, I didn't say a word. I didn't say anything. It's the third technical already in the first half. 54-39 Atlanta. They double team Sean Elliott. And Shinsis hits Robinson. Shot clock at 4. Elliott having to make a move. Contact got a piece of it. Comes down to David, but too late. Shot clock violation. This is the 7th of the 9 turnovers the Spurs have in this half. in this quarter, 7 of the 9.
Well, it's just amazing how quickly David can get the ball up from right off his shoes and get it up to the hoop. Not quite quick enough that time to beat the shot clock, but that's the second time that he's pulled the ball off of his shoe tops and got it up to the hoop.
Nicely done in front of Kevin Willis.
And then at the high end, he can also get up quite quickly.
Up Strickland, out of his rhythm, left his feet. Spurs are, as a team, kind of out of their rhythm.
You saw it right there at half court. David Robinson went by Rod and just sort of gave him a little bit of encouragement, trying to get him fired up. Here he is. He just patted Elliott and just said, let's get going here.
Second time they clear out for Wilkins against Elliott, and he'll stay outside. That's what the Spurs want. They don't want this, though. Willis to follow. Air ball. Robinson made him come up way short. And runs the floor. Hits over Konchak. 18 in the first half for David. He needs some help, though. He got it in the first quarter from Willie. He hasn't scored in the second quarter. When the Spurs are this imbalanced offensively, they usually struggle. Wilkins all the way off the top of the board. And the loose ball finally picked up by Willie Anderson. By that time, no chance to take advantage in transition. Rivers gambling for the steal. Shinsis on the follow, not good. A little bit out of his rhythm that time. Pass behind Willis by Robinson. This coming Sunday, the Spurs call another timeout. You want to be at the North Star Mall Food Court. Food court samplings and a silent auction from 7 to 8 p.m. A live auction at 8:15, benefiting the Spurs Foundation. Auction items are provided through North Star Mall merchants, and the Spurs send some autograph items over there for your perusal as well. It's $15 for adults, $7 if you're 12 or younger. Tickets are available at the North Star Mall information booth, any Spurs mall cart, and the Spurs administrative offices on Market Street. Presented by North Star Mall Food Court and the Sharper Image. Our next HSE telecast comes your way Wednesday, January 16th, as the Spurs return to Hemisphere Arena, hosting Derek Harper and the Dallas Mavericks. We'll have that game for you live at 7:30 from San Antonio. One thing has turned around this quarter, the Spurs shooting. Larry Brown's club 8 for 14 in the period, 57%. Atlanta cooling to 5 of 15 in the period after they were 70% in the first quarter. But more than making up for that is the fact that Atlanta is making a living at the line, and the Spurs have only 3 free throws this period. Wilkins by himself has 3. Malone 2, Battle 2, McCormick 1.
They're saying that this is not a timeout. We've had some kind of a problem at the scoring table, and that was an inadvertent whistle, so that does not get charged as a timeout to anybody.
Larry Brown taking advantage nonetheless. Well, the Spurs again in a position where they've got to come from behind. Last night they did it. 9 down in the fourth, 1 at no T. Foul trouble to the 2 main replacements for Terry Cummings, Sidney Green and David Greenwood. Robinson has no fouls. Greenwood added a technical to that list of 3 personals.
David has now spoken to everybody on his team on the court right now, encouraging them to get it together.
And to the deck goes Doc Rivers for the steal. That last timeout was a television timeout. Now that's new to me. Usually you get 1 for each team per quarter. 2:03 in the quarter. Here as Rivers knocks a long one down. Doc with 6. Lead is 15. Atlanta has the Spurs playing their type of game. Shinsis turns on Kevin Willis. Rumeal Robinson. And a minute 30 before halftime. Hawks coach Bob Weiss will join us as our halftime guest. Rivers goes. Deflection. Robinson comes down to the other Robinson, and Rumil comes up short. Now the Spurs with a man advantage, I think, for the first time in the half, and Elliott converts. Just his 4th point after 25 last night. 56-43.
David looks like he's hopping up and down a little bit, like he might have rolled his ankle over a little bit.
Yep, shaking it off on the left ankle. Wilkins, 360, spinning it off the glass for 2. First oohs and ahs he is elicited tonight. 58-43 Atlanta. Larry Brown will use a 20-second timeout. Well, what has to change?
Well, they haven't been very efficient on offense, and Atlanta has. And you know, you're just going to have to. They're playing pretty good defense, but Atlanta's just shooting extremely well. You know, that last play is, you know, it's just Dominique Wilkins is an extraordinary player, and this kind of a spin move, and he knows David Robinson's coming, and he manages to loft it up over the top and get it to go. It's just, he's just an extraordinary player. But it's all the simple shots that they're getting some long-range shots and making them. And the Spurs are having a difficult time. They've mishandled the ball a few times, and every time you go down, you've got to get a good opportunity, and to stay with Atlanta, they're going to have to shoot pretty well right now. But as the Spurs have realized on the road, things happen. They just got to keep chipping away at it.
Paul Pressey in for the Spurs. You saw Moses Malone in for the Hawks. 47.7 seconds. 58-43 Atlanta. Wind it down in the first half. Pressey mismatch against Willis. Going to drive him. Give it up to Sean. Wilkins in a mismatch against Strickland. Shot clock at 3. And on the run, actually got a half-decent shot off. He was open. He just couldn't get the roll. And Atlanta will look for the last shot of the first half, but first they'll call a 20-second timeout of their own. The NBA East featuring the great starts by Boston and Milwaukee, then Chicago and Detroit, both 5 behind the Celtics. Philadelphia just 1 game on top of Atlanta after the Sixers lost last night. Atlanta 14 of 17 after at one point in November looking like they might be the story of the league in a negative sense, because 9 straight losses with this type of talent, I think, caught everybody by surprise, including Bob Weiss, who was equally surprised by how quickly they turned it around.
Well, he's, you know, I think we talked a little bit in the game in Atlanta about how that losing streak sort of evolved because of, you know, they played some really good teams that clocked them pretty good, and they just sort of got discouraged, and they got beat twice by Charlotte, and that really sort of gets you down. And I think there was some question mark as to, you know, you got a brand new coach and whether the plan's right. And when all of a sudden it started to turn, they made the big change and moved Moses out and Koncak in. Everybody's gotten real encouraged, and everything happens, you know, with a lot more confidence.
Well, we could hear that slap all the way out here. That is the first foul on Robinson. Dominique Wilkins will be at the line. And the other thing that Weiss says they've really gotten away from in that losing streak, when things got tight, they tended to be 5 individuals, 5 different guys each trying to win it single-handedly. And since then, they've gotten to where they rely on each other, and they play down the stretch much better as a team.
They seem to be really good at taking advantage. They're a real pattern club, but they really seem to be able to take advantage of different defenses and different people on the court. I mean, you saw when Sean Higgins in the game, they went right to that new guy Farrell a couple of times.
Used to be Farrell, and he's now Dwayne Farrell.
They immediately went to like a 2-year guy that was on the waiver list not very long ago to take advantage of Sean Higgins.
60-43, biggest lead of the half for Atlanta. 6 seconds. Underneath was Willie Anderson, and Robinson spotted him beautifully and plays free safety, gets the steal. The long shot taken by Moses Malone, and his long shot almost tipped in by Doc Rivers. Wow, what a finish to the first half. Moses almost hit an 80-footer. Robinson almost hit a 70-footer. First, the backdoor feed to Willie Anderson. Now Moses going deep. David alertly drifting back. And just short. In fact, it almost looked at first like goaltending. And then here came Malone right back. At halftime, it's the Hawks by 15 over the Spurs. Dave Barnett, Kobe Dietrich, your strategy session here for the second half. What have you cooked up for the Spurs to get back in this game?
Well, that's typical. I think you're going to go in the locker room. You're going to say, just try to keep it close enough and give yourself a chance to win. Then all of a sudden, the long jump shots may not quite get in there. And similar to last night, where you're just trying to tighten the defense down. And, you know, they've got to get a little more efficient on offense. But the Hawks are going to have to cool off.
One thing that's similar to last night's game, Spurs getting burned off turnovers. 12 turnovers have cost them 13 points. Atlanta's 6 turnovers have cost them only 2 points, and that's a big part of that 15-point margin. Tonight's Miller Genuine Draft All-Star trivia question. Michael Jordan won the All-Star Saturday Slam Dunk Championship twice. Name the only other player to do that. We'll have the answer when we come back.
I grew up in Texas.
On this, our 20th anniversary, Southwest Airlines proudly unfurls Lone Star One, a high-flying tribute to the indomitable spirit that makes Texas a true state of mind.
Shining in the Texas sky, the Lone Star is flying high. You can do it with true value.
Save big with these hot buys. Get the Master Pro Sport combination lock for just $6.99. And the Master Electrician 60-foot extension cord includes 10 bonus feet and carry strap for just $7.49. Or get the Master Electrician Trouble Light for only $17.99. In fact, you'll find over 60 hot buys in all, so get them while they're hot at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Season, the power of Pac-10 college basketball is on Prime Network. Every week, some of the nation's top teams battle the boards with the young and hungry attack of the most dominating offenses the Pac-10 has to offer. From nationally ranked Arizona and UCLA to the electrifying charge of Oregon and Washington State, it's college hoop at its finest. USC and Arizona live Thursday night at 9 on HSE. San Antonio Spurs basketball is brought to you in part by LA Gear, unstoppable in high-performance athletic footwear.
The answer to our All-Star trivia question. The only man besides Michael Jordan to win 2 All-Star Slam Dunk Championships is Dominique Wilkins, 1985 and 90. All-Star trivia brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft, proud sponsor of the NBA All-Star balloting. Don't forget to choose your genuine best Spurs player. Dominique leading Atlanta to a 56% first half shooting, 45% by the Spurs. Edges all the way around for the Hawks. And this is twice in as many games they've out-rebounded the Spurs. Statistics say they shouldn't do it, but they've done it. Willie Anderson, double figures with 11 points, 60-47. And Atlanta with the same 5 that opened the game. Rivers, Robinson, Wilkins, Willis, and Koncak. Kevin Willis ran the floor well in the first half. Goes to the jump hook for his 8th point.
Well, it was a nice shot by Kevin Willis over David Robinson. He just took it right to him.
Robinson 18 first half points, 4 boards, 3 blocks, 3 steals. Willie, dipsy doodle move. Greenwood kept it going. Robinson able to set himself and then launch inside of Koncak. He's got 20. And again, they're within 13. Look at him come up to challenge Willis. And he creates a turnover almost. Willis to the deck and still rolling around and still no jump ball. Now finally Greenwood and Koncak. Could have been 3 different jump balls here. They picked the last one. David, I don't think, in a great mood after 3 fouls and a technical in the first half that he didn't think he deserved. But I'm sure Kevin Lockery thought he didn't deserve his, and Dominique didn't think he deserved his. When there are that many technicals in a half, not to get too down on the officials, but is that a comment on lack of control?
It sometimes is a comment on the kinds of that particular group of officials.
Counted for Dominique Wilkins. Foul by Anderson, his second. Wilkins' 20th point. So would the comment in this case be perhaps trying to get too much control? Maybe reading lips that didn't say what they thought they said.
Yeah, so far, I mean, of all the technicals, we have no idea what happened. It wasn't really something, you know, usually technical fouls are something that where you can actually see what's going on and what's happening, and it's just some comments that are being passed around. And I don't think anybody's really demonstrated in any way to try to embarrass the officials.
Willis rebounding the miss by Rod Strickland. Not many second and third opportunities for the Spurs. They had only 5 offensive rebounds in the first half. Willis way long. Hawks back as a team. No chance to finish the break. David Greenwood left alone. And fumbled by Dominique Wilkins, who may have come down out of bounds. Or they may say
I think they're going to say that
Willie.
I think they're going to say that Willie was standing out of bounds when he hit the ball.
And he probably was. Quick inbounds pass, and Robinson knew what they wanted. They wanted the alley-oop to Dominique. Sean Elliott has the fast break bucket the Spurs have been looking for. Something to get him ignited. Just his 6th point, 65-51. Quick switch, Greenwood. Robinson unable to go pick and roll. Drives, turns it over. But picking it up is Kevin Willis, and Robinson there for the rebound. 3-on-3 break. Willie to finish as he lands on the back of Doc Rivers. Robinson can't get inside the Admiral. Lock number 4. Strickland to the trailer, and Elliott hammered at the top of his leap. They say Konkak, who got a lot of ball, got a little body. All started with the block at the other end by Robinson.
David Vermeil just takes this one too far. David throws that. I think almost Greenwood might have gotten that too. And then David kicks the ball up to Strickland, who hits the trail man Sean Elliott, who draws the foul.
Sean 0 for 2 at the line, and Atlanta wants time. 9 minutes 6 seconds in the third quarter. Atlanta has led virtually all the way.
The reason Robert isn't leaving is not because he doesn't want to be beaten on the basketball court. It's because he doesn't want to be beaten at home.
If you know of or suspect a case of child abuse, do something about it.
This message is brought to you by Laurel Ridge.
Do you know how far you've walked today? Do you know how far you've run? What was your average speed? How many calories have you burned? Now there's a sports watch that can tell you all this and more. Introducing the revolutionary new Sportsmate watch. Sportsmate is a brand new fitness instrument you wear conveniently on your wrist. It's the perfect way to keep your fitness or weight loss program on track. Here's why. First, Sportsmate uses a tiny electronic motion sensor to precisely count each step while walking or running. Second, at the heart of Sportsmate is a specially designed microchip that converts steps into miles, reports speed in miles per hour, and computes the number of calories you've burned. Sportsmate also gives you a 24-hour alarm, 1/100-second stopwatch, an audio pacer, a countdown timer, and more. Sportsmate, the computer sports watch developed for total fitness. Order your Sportsmate today.
To order a Sports-Made watch using your credit card, call 1-800-292-1100 or send check or money order for $39.95 plus $4 shipping and handling to Sports-Made, Department R Box 1618, St. Louis, Missouri 63011. But for fast phone service, call 1-800-292-1100.
San Antonio Spurs telecast is brought to you in part by True Value Hardware. Got a tough job to do? You can do it with True Value Hardware stores. The Spurs have a tough job to do. They've got 9:06 in the third. They trail by 14 here in Atlanta, 65-51. Interesting time for a timeout. I mean, Atlanta's not exactly teetering. What do you think they called that for?
Well, the Spurs had a couple of fast breaks there. Weiss obviously is aware of the kind of team the Spurs are. They can really get it going. He just wanted to remind everybody that to keep control of the way they've been playing this game up till now.
And the way the Spurs are trying to get it going is defensively. Clear out. Wilkins off balance. Got it. Count it. There is no defense to combat a move like this.
Well, Sean does a pretty good job moving his feet, but there was just a little bit of contact there. I don't know. It's so arbitrary as it was a foul and what's not. I think David gets that kind of contact on every single play that he makes.
Wilkins has got the lead for Atlanta up to 16. The biggest margin was 17 late in the first half. Strickland looked, couldn't find Robinson. Breakneck drive. Elliott couldn't finish it, and Robinson knocks it out of bounds. The Spurs' struggles, in one sense, not that surprising because they put so much into the game in Philadelphia last night. Open, Dominique, automatic. In the third quarter, 8 quick ones, 26 for the game. And now the biggest lead for Atlanta, 18 points. Koncak could argue this one. That's his 4th. They get him for reaching and getting perhaps part of the hand of David. We'll see.
Generally,
the left pinky nail.
But generally, when you see the ball go up in the air, generally you can say that right off the bat the guy didn't get the ball. When you see if the ball goes up in the air, generally it's because you hit the guy's hand. As he's moving the ball, you hit the guy's hand and the ball goes up, you know the guy didn't hit the ball and knock it down.
Pressey for Elliott, Malone for Koncak. And 22 for Robinson, 70-54. This game feels a lot like the Milwaukee game, which came on the heels of another win streak, another extremely emotional win that come from behind in Phoenix in overtime. It just didn't have what it took emotionally to come back and beat Milwaukee. And Dominique took it by itself here in the third quarter. You don't think he remembers what happened when Elliott guarded him the first time this year? Well, he remembers.
He's just really playing at the high level.
Good cut. Strickland on the reverse.
Really good look from Paul Pressey, too. You know, Larry Brown has taken Sean out of the game and putting Paul Pressey on Dominique, but when Dominique gets it going like this, he's really a load.
Illegal defense on Rod Strickland. When do the Spurs start to double team Dominique and just deny him the room to make moves like this?
Well, it's real difficult. One of the things that makes Dominique so difficult to guard is he shoots him in. He can shoot an in-between shot like an 8-footer going to the hoop. He doesn't have to take it all the way to the hoop to be very effective. George Gervin was very similar to that. He would have to get all the way to the basket, so it's hard to come over. You never know when he's going to turn it loose.
Pull up air ball that time. Everything bouncing Atlanta's way. Except here. Robinson, another steal. Rumeal Robinson takes it right back and takes it in on David Ringel. Hawks back up by 18. Timeout, San Antonio. Spurs a bunch after the Robinson steal. With 6:42 in the third, Rumeal Robinson has made it Atlanta 74, Spurs 56.
Why should you buy from Smith Chevrolet? Stability. We're a 3-generation family business, and we've been selling Chevrolets for nearly 75 years. Service. Our parts department is one of the largest anywhere, and our service and body shop is state-of-the-art. Price. We know our prices will stand up to anybody's every day on every Chevy because we'll do what it takes. Come see us at Smith Chevrolet GO on Broadway. We'll do what it takes.
Yes, it's time for year-end savings on the JCPenney Shopping Network. Say yes to low prices on high-tech electronics. Yes to glowing values on glistening jewelry. Yes to affordable fashions for the whole family. Yes to white sale prices on household items. Yes, it's year-end savings time. Tune in to the JCPenney Shopping Network on Channel 21.
You know, I love when you go to a concert and they sing all your songs.
Tina.
Why don't you just jam it? I'll just come out and jam with you.
Tina Turner on pay-per-view cable TV. Get set to sweat. The Queen of Rock struts her stuff on pay-per-view cable TV.
Hawks by 18 around the NBA. Alex English with a big night, easily his best game as a Dallas Maverick in their overtime 1-point win at New Jersey. Back to play here, and David Robinson comes up with an air ball because he was fouled by Moses Malone. First foul on a man who was not fouled out for 996 consecutive games.
And he deliberately committed this foul, hoping to get away with it too. A little elbow tap.
You got to figure he gets away with quite a bit with a streak like that. One of two for David. 74-57. Dominique Wilkins with 14 of the last 18 Atlanta points. And 10 already here in the third quarter. Malone over Greenwood for the turn. And Robinson will kick it out to Willie Anderson. He's got Paul Pressey taking it in on Moses. Paul Pressey very aggressive in the transition. Well, the Spurs have got to get a streak. And you get streaks by running. You run by getting rebounds, and you get rebounds off misses. Atlanta just refuses to miss. Doc Rivers hits with two guys in his face. They try to run anyway, and Robinson too far underneath. Now hammered away at Moses. Almost lost his goggles. Three-pointer, Doc Rivers. Chance to run. Strickland spinning away from Rumeal Robinson, who did a good job following him down. Willie passes it up. On the run, much better. Not here. Greenwood, offensive board. Long two missed by Strickland. And the Hawks look to run. Rivers to Robinson. Got to keep our Robinson straight. Rumeal missed. David rebounded. Another double-double for the Admiral, his 10th board. Shot clock at 10. Robinson again challenging the much slower, older Moses Malone. Helping defense, committed the foul. Doc Rivers, his first fourth against the team.
Number 25, Doc Rivers, his first foul.
And back in Sean Elliott, replacing Rod Strickland.
San Antonio, he's shooting two.
That'd be the best game he's played against Atlanta. Last year, mostly against Malone, he averaged only 15.5 points, only 7.5 rebounds. They probably did the most any team did to slow him down.
David has a little more problems with guys that are bigger and heavier that can play behind him, but this team has a very active help guys. I mean, Doc Rivers is just there is a good example of it, of a guy who's quick enough and big enough to come and help out on defense. Of course, Dominique Wilkins, he ended up winning the game in San Antonio, helping on the weak side on defense. But those are the kind of teams that have quick, tall help guys that's required to stop somebody with David's talent.
And the Spurs continue to miss open shots. Elliott now 3 of 9 from the field. The team 43%. The Hawks 54%. Wilkins, one of his few misses. And out of bounds off San Antonio. Pretty much a Murphy's Law game. Anything that can go wrong will. Sidney Green in to replace David Greenwood.
I think also the other aspect is, I mean, as we see Tim McCormick come in here, Atlanta has a lot of big people that can use a lot of fouls, very much like the Detroit Pistons. And David's going to end up, he just has to steel himself to just drawing a lot of fouls, playing a real sloppy, ugly game, and shooting a lot of free throws in order to get it done.
Well, that much he has done. He's made a living at the line. Rivers way off. Rebound number 11. No longer automatically double teaming David. Anderson with the lean-in move, 13 points. Not this possession, but the last one. Twice he passed up spot-up jumpers.
He looked a little uncertain about what he wanted to do. He came out and started the half shooting, but he's been sort of uncertain.
Rumil over David, another air ball. David must have caused at least a half dozen Atlanta air balls tonight. Willie on the jams. 76-63, back within 13.
Well, he wasn't uncertain about that play at all.
And Atlanta wants a 22nd timeout. This run for the Spurs, 9-2. Now, Willie, when he has to shoot standing still, doesn't like that. When he's on the move, that's when he's most dangerous.
He ducks under Doc Rivers and ends up exploding to the basket and dunking it. See how he gets it underneath and still gets the elevation up to dunk that ball.
Don't forget this weekend, if you're a card collector, a sports memorabilia buff, from 11 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. on Saturday and 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sunday, you want to be at the San Antonio Convention Center North Banquet Hall. If you're an adult, $4. If you're a child, $2. Sponsored by the San Antonio Light and KTFM Radio. There will be over 100 dealer tables there. A portion of the proceeds benefiting the Spurs Foundation. Autographs available Saturday by the Coyote and George Gervin. Sunday by Rod Strickland, David Greenwood, and Dwayne Shinsis. The autographs will be free. Look in the light for a discount coupon and for exact times of player appearances. Under 3 minutes to go, quarter number 3. Wilkins 4-3, rebounded by Pressey, and the Spurs try to keep their surge alive. They're within 11. Willie almost brought it within single digits. They've been down by as many as 18. And the Hawks try to settle it down and regain the pace. The faster the pace has been, the more it's favored the Spurs. Tim McCormick turns on Robinson.
John Battle made a nice pass into Tim McCormick and made that play happen.
Anderson now guarded by Dominique. Robinson looked inside for Elliott, knocked away by Battle. As the Spurs will return to the game, David Greenwood, Rod Strickland. Anderson and Robinson will get a rest. Young legs are good. Willie with 38 minutes in Philly last night. David a season high 49 minutes. Not showing any ill effects. Green over McCormick. Off the glass twice. Wouldn't go. Hawks ball up 13. Battle's had a quiet night. This is here as Greenwood came out to challenge. And Pressey, as he's fouled Pressey's had a whole slew of tough shots fall tonight. None tougher than this one.
Well, he sort of jukes one direction and realizes that he's got the bump and puts the shot up and makes it. And now he can put together a three-point play. And the Spurs are right within 10 if he can make this free throw. Hanging around.
You'll be inspired by watching Dominique. They are within 10. Pressey again solid off the bench tonight, 9 points. A minute 42, third quarter. The Spurs get within 8 or 9. All they have to do is remember last night. This foul on Pressey, his second. Bob Bass talking last night after the game about how they have done what most teams search forever to do, and that is get this attitude that they're never out of the game. It doesn't matter where or whom they're playing. They always think they can win. Three-pointer missed by Battle. Robinson beats Strickland to the loose ball and gets the foul underneath. That's 4 on Greenwood.
Well, the Hawks have got to be real happy about the progress of Emil Robinson. He's really strong. He really has had a good court game, moving the ball. He's taken the ball to the hoop several times. Probably, if he'd have let it go a foot out farther, but I think he'll learn that there's some awful big guys in there in the lane.
Here's the new acquisition, Farrell, replacing Farrell
in the
first half. And Runil Robinson missing both. Spurs can come within 8. They were down 9 coming into the fourth quarter last night and won it. Second team to come back in the fourth quarter this year and beat Philadelphia. Elliott way short for the three-pointer. And with Dominique resting, Wayne Farrell turns it over to Elliott. Plenty of time, a minute to go third quarter. Green turning on Moses Malone. Pressey works on the offensive glass, and Farrell will chase it down. Veteran from Georgia Tech here in Atlanta. McCormick, nifty spin move inside. Looks a lot like Ronnie Cycli with the little duck under. And this is as good a game as Tim McCormick has played in an Atlanta uniform. Of course, they picked him up in the Kenny Smith trade prior to the season from Houston. And the Spurs will work for what they hope will be the last shot. They have 3 on the shot clock. Elliott again comes up way off, and Robinson beats everybody down. Rod Strickland from midcourt is off, and Atlanta may have weathered the storm. They go to the fourth quarter with a 14-point lead on the Snowbird basket by Runil Robinson. 82-68 Hawks.
I grew up in Texas.
On this, our 20th anniversary, Southwest Airlines proudly unfurls Lone Star One, a high-flying tribute to the indomitable spirit that makes Texas a true state of mind.
Shining in the Texas sky, the Lone Star is flying high.
You're watching Spurs basketball on Home Sports Entertainment.
How does a disk store what I write?
Memory and storage.
When I hit the enter key, exactly what happens next?
Input, output. Now, your questions about computers have simple, straightforward answers. In Time Life Books' unique series, Understanding Computers. Each volume gives you step-by-step explanations of how computers work without any jargon, and clear, concise illustrations and diagrams that make complex principles easy to understand. Order your first book, Combix, now. Examine it free for 10 days. If you keep it, other volumes will follow, one about every other month. Because whatever it is you want to know about computers.
How does a laser printer work?
What's a window?
Understanding computers begins with Time Life books.
Call 1-800-233-4200 to examine Computer Basics free for 10 days. Keep it and pay just $14.99 plus shipping and handling.
One of the younger fans in the Omni. Atlanta everywhere, 51% to 41%. Only 2 Spurs in double figures. The Spurs did come within 10 late in the third quarter. Couldn't keep it going. They're down 14 as we head to the fourth, 82-68. I guess they have them right where they want them, though. The Spurs have been such a good fourth quarter team all year.
Well, I guess they have to look at it that way right now. Atlanta's playing awfully well.
Battle held to only 4 points. Normally much more dangerous than that off the bench. Fires over Strickland, and look how high David Robinson goes for the board. He was shoulder high to the rim that time for his 12th board. Taking on more of a load than usual tonight because most of the Spurs are stone cold. Turns between the double team defenders, McCormick and Rivers. And McCormick is whistled, his third. Back in, Willie Anderson.
Number 40, Willie Anderson.
And Anderson replacing Sean Elliott. Robinson right to work. Didn't challenge McCormick that time. Pressey hitting about everything tonight, and nothing changing here. The reach in by Wayne Farrell will give Paul a chance for a three-point play.
Second team foul for Atlanta.
Well, Paul makes another nice move here, and he's looking for his shot. Ends up getting fouled on top of it and makes the shot. He did this last night where he there was a stretch there where he hit several shots to keep the Spurs in it.
Really shooting with confidence. 59% from the field on this road trip. And up to challenge Farrell. Battle. Double team foul. Either Strickland or Pressey, and it's Strickland, his second.
First team foul for San Antonio in the fourth period.
Well, Battle's trying to get this one off. Rod just trying to swipe at the ball. Realizes that he got some arm, but I don't think he realized that he was getting help behind him.
John Battle may be the best bargain in basketball. Makes about $350,000 a year. This is his final year before he becomes a free agent, and he's kind of non-committal about whether he would return to Atlanta. He should command large dollars. Third best scorer off the bench in the league. 19.5 points per game over his last 11, but only 6 here. Pressey follow Robinson. 27 points. And the Spurs hanging within 11. 10:40 remaining. Again, we can say the same thing. They're just looking for one good surge. 6, 8, 10 straight points. They're right there.
Well, Paul Pressey's doing a real good job of getting off a good shot, and that allowed David Robinson to get the offensive rebound and get it back in.
Bucks taking much tougher shots this half. Almost a strip for Robinson, but the shot clock goes off. They say reset it to 1. So Atlanta will have time for one pass and a quick shot. John Koncak back in. The shot almost goes for Doc Rivers. And a chance to come within single digits. Willie Anderson on the spin draws the foul. I think Rivers got him. It would be his second, and it is.
Well, Paul Pressey hits the seam there and kicks it back out to Willie Anderson, who puts together a classic Anderson spin move and ends up drawing the foul. The Spurs just keep chipping away. It also helps that they're getting the fouls. It stops the clock, gives them more time, a little rest. You know, all these aspects really help a comeback.
22nd timeout.
Atlanta has already used a 22nd timeout this half. They call another one. They don't have one, so this is a full timeout. We'll take it with them. 10-12 to go. Fourth quarter. Spurs within 10.
We Brits are learning your American football, right, Joe? Yeah, right.
The other way.
catch the ball.
And after practice, we drink a great American beer. Miller Lite.
Miller Lite, with its crisp, refreshing Pilsner taste, it's everything you want in a beer today.
What are they doing now? They're practicing touchdowns.
The shoe's got a lot of leather, it's light, and it's comfortable, and I'm going to wear it.
Joe, it's a basketball shoe. I'm going to wear it.
You can't stop this. No, it's a cross trainer, and I'm going to wear it.
Unstoppable. What is New Jersey Devils hockey? It's non-stop, fast-paced, hard-hitting action against the NHL's most dominating teams. Edmonton and New Jersey, live January 12th at 12:30 on HSE. Each week, feel the power and the drive of the Southwest's most dominating stars and deadly offensive attacks. TCU and A&M live Wednesday night at 7:30 on HSE.
We want to remind you again, there are good seats available for this game. The Orlando Magic coming in Thursday at 7:30. The Arena Box Office Rainbow Ticketmaster outlets, or call 554-SPUR. And then the Utah Jazz come in Saturday. That's a pay-per-view broadcast. If you have a Z-View converter, call 222-0500. And then following the home game against the Jazz, the Spurs go to Salt Lake City next Tuesday for another pay-per-view broadcast. Willie Anderson has his 17th point. Same story as last night. Atlanta, like Philadelphia, making a good living off turnovers. McCormick. Robinson makes Steve Javi's mind up with that flop that this was an offensive foul in the 4th of the game on McCormick. Now we'll see if it was an offensive foul.
Well, Robinson was very squared up to McCormick there and just drew the contact and almost forced the official to make the call.
You can feel it get nervous here in the Omni. A whole different feeling to the building, and Sidney Green helps the cause even more to cut it to 7. Biggest lead was 18 not that long ago. Can the Spurs do it again on the road?
Well, if the Hawks get it done, it'll be with this guy right here, Dominique Wilkins.
Robinson flew at him, made him give it up. McCormick and Concac battle underneath, and that's out of bounds to Atlanta. They'll have 5 on the shot clock as McCormick departs and Kevin Willis returns. Big part of this game. McCormick 10 points off the bench. Wilkins on the 3-point line. 13 for the game. Spurs have been almost perfect in the first 3 minutes of this 4th quarter. They may have to be perfect for the entire 4th quarter, the way Dominique Wilkins is playing. Sidney Moncrief in to guard Rod Strickland. Retired briefly from Milwaukee last year. Missed it. Came back this year. Elliott scooped just in time to beat the shot clock. Here comes Dominique. It's 4-on-2 for Atlanta. And Strickland foils the plans of Kevin Willis. Did Willis travel here?
I think Dominique gives this up at the last second. I think Kevin was looking to just go to the basket, and I don't think he had it long enough to get it traveling.
Strickland steals and is fouled by Moncrief.
Great anticipation by Rod Strickland.
That's the 4th Atlanta team foul. A light has gone off with the Spurs defensively. They're making plays they didn't try to in the first half.
Well, there's they can see the end of the game, how much energy they have left, how much time in the game is left, and everybody's trying to pick it up a notch. See how much they've got that they can contribute here in the last 8 minutes.
Anderson guarded by Wilkins. 2-man game with Green. Now Elliott. Now Strickland. That's a big bucket for Rod Strickland. 7 for the game for the Rocket. The lead is 7. Closest the Spurs have been since late 1st quarter. And Rod going for another steal as Robinson Robinson and Willis exchange some words. Jim Clark, Steve Javie step in. Green also involved in the conversation. Foul is on Robinson. His second, team's second. Here's what started all this. Right side of your screen, right there. David staggering backwards. That worked for him last time, but not this time. David Greenwood back in. Pick and roll. Willis going low, fumbles it away. They say the Spurs touched it.
David really did that with some great quickness with his hands and knocked that ball loose as he was beat to the basket that time.
Moncrief almost stripped by Strickland. Almost hit the runner. That's 5 on Greenwood. He may come right back out. Well, Brown deciding to let him go. And here is Moncrief. When he retired last year, he turned down an opportunity to do television color because he said that'd be just like playing. I want to get completely away from basketball. I don't want to go on the road. I want to see how I am without basketball being an everyday presence in my life. Well, obviously he didn't do very well because here he is.
I understand very much how he felt. I mean, the other thing, he was with Milwaukee so long, he had a real emotional attachment to the Milwaukee Bucks, and I don't know if he was prepared to go to another team.
David Robinson on the turnaround, 29 points, 88-81. We have 7:20. Dominique Wilkins. Finally a miss from Neek. Spurs can come within 5. Much better job taking care of the ball this quarter. In the back door, Greenwood cut. One pass, perhaps too many. Elliott wasn't ready. Moncrief. Willis right back to him. Now Rivers. Moncrief hits the deck, no whistle. Contact, wanted to screen. Spurs are pretty well picking the pick and roll away. And Strickland takes the ball away. Elliott against Dominique.
Boy, a couple of great defensive plays. Strickland at one end and Dominique Wilkins at the other.
This nervous crowd now into the game. That was like an electric jolt. Spin move, Dominique, and a foul. Foul is Robinson's third. It looked good for the Spurs on the steal by Rod Strickland and a chance to score in transition. And now a technical foul on Sean Elliott of the Spurs. Here's the steal by Rod. And then, of course, that led to the attempt to score in transition. Elliott, who just picked up the tee, no doubt because he thought he was fouled here. He definitely thought he was fouled. And Wilkins hits the technical.
Number 40, Anderson, now in.
Well, if the Spurs don't complete this comeback, I think we'll point to this part of the game with 6:19 to go in the fourth quarter where Atlanta kind of regained their equilibrium.
Well, that would have been a difficult call to make on Dominique. You know, he had his own position. You know, there was some body contact there, but he made a pretty good block on Sean's attempt.
He's 10 for 10 at the line. He's 52 of his last 54. Of course, it was Dominique who made the game-saving play at Hemisphere, blocking David Robinson's dunk attempt, no less. Moncrief timed it perfectly.
Well, Sidney just switches on this and anticipates that pass and picks it off and takes it in, draws the foul, and gets the 2 points.
That's what 11 years in the league will teach you. Perfectly timed to step into the passing lane and pick that one off. Two-time Defensive Player of the Year. And he's helped Atlanta ignite an 8-2 run to go back up by 13. Timeout, Spurs. Time running out as they try to win their 10th road game in the last 11 tries.
It's over. The tree has lost its glitter. The fruitcake is fossilized. And you're besieged by the gentle reminders of Christmas past. That's why Pizza Hut introduces the $5.99 pepperoni pizza deal. Get a delicious pepperoni pan pizza at a never-before low price. But you'd better hurry because, unlike the fruitcake, this deal won't last forever.
Pizza Hut, making it great.
Fire up the new Eagle Talon, and you've got a power tool that handles like a dream in the corners. Cuts clean across any surface and nails the competition every time. Eagle Talon, the one power tool you won't be so willing to lend to the guy next door.
See your Texas Jeep Eagle dealer, where you can expect the best.
Are you looking for a new car or truck? Why read it in black and white when you can see it in vivid color on KBL TV, cable channel 21? It's the easiest, fastest, and most comfortable way to find new transportation for you and your family. Without ever leaving your living room, you can shop for a new car or truck. Think of the convenience. Tune in to cable channel 21 for an instant, up-to-date view of vehicles offered for sale by San Antonio dealers. That's KBL TV, cable channel 21.
Around the NBA, Milwaukee still has not lost at home. At the end of the first quarter tonight, they trail Washington 32-30. They lead Atlanta and others in the Central Division. Tom Chambers, first game back since his injury, with 25 points, 11 rebounds in the Suns' victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. 6:03 to play here. The Spurs were within 7 at 88-81, and it's 6 straight Atlanta points since then. They've really had Atlanta wondering. But Wilkins and Moncrief taking charge, and Dominique does it again. Point blank, he steals it from Pressing. A superstar playing like a superstar tonight. Hawks very patient, 5 on the shot clock. Now they've got to hurry. Rivers for 3. Wilkins! Wow. Long one, three-pointer, no good. Pressey. Moncrief with the rebound. This is exactly why they got Sidney Moncrief, isn't it?
Well, he's able to, he doesn't need to play the whole game. He comes into this game in the fourth quarter with tremendous experience, and he knows how to finish games. He knows what to do, and he's getting it done.
That's the 15th rebound for Robinson. Spurs have to end this Atlanta run. They've got 8 straight points. And they go to David to do it, and he'll go to the line. 5th Atlanta team foul. Third on Doc Rivers.
Number 50, David Robinson to the line.
Dominique Wilkins with a punctuation mark a moment ago on this follow.
Well, he just steps around Pressey, who should have been blocking him out, and he's just in this building. He has just been playing spectacular basketball.
Rebounded by Willis, 96-82, 4:38 remaining, and now the Hawks can work with the shot clock every possession. They have been double tough against the Western Conference this year, as Moncrief misses against Western teams 9-1. Robinson in transition, and now the Hawks in transition. They go to Willis. He missed it, as I think Greenwood will foul out of the game. He will.
Foul is on number 33, Greenwood, his 6th.
David out with 2 points, 4 rebounds. Almost an instant replay. Robinson missing a jam, and then Willis, almost the same thing happening at the other end.
Well, David, that right there, David was wondering why the Concac didn't get the foul called on him. Come down immediately down at the other end, and David Greenwood fouls out of the game on a dunk by Kevin Willis.
And as David usually does when he's really upset, he smiles. Elliott back in for Greenwood. David has a disbelieving grin, and he couldn't believe he didn't get what Kevin Willis got here, 2 free throws. Well, Greenwood can grin about things that don't go his way as well. Brown really into it, and he is not grinning in his conversation with Steve Javy. One more word, and I think Javy is going to tee it. 96-82. Messi with a miss. Loose ball foul. Now this will be interesting. Robinson again, I think, might have tweaked an ankle trying to shake it off. This foul is on Rivers. His 4th. Looked like it might well have been on David. But he gets his wish. He'll go to the line with 30 points, 16 rebounds. Atlanta has yet to lose to a Midwest Division team. 5-0. This would make them 6-0. And as we mentioned, this would make him 10-1 against all Western Conference teams. This loose ball foul is on Pressey, his 3rd. And in fact, against non-Central Division teams, they're 15-4. They've got trouble within their own extremely tough division. Other than that, Rob Weiss hardly knows what it is to lose this year. Wilkins, 21 more than he had in the first game. And I don't think it's a comment about Sean Elliott, who's been held to 7. I think it's a comment on the fact that when he's on like this, he's going to be on no matter who's on.
There's no one that could guard Dominique when he gets it going like this.
Loose ball foul. Willis is 3rd. Yeah, he goes to that grin. Nice that everybody's so good-natured about what they disagree with. Well, it's a select group of people that can do what Dominique has done tonight. David Robinson starting to join that group night in, night out.
San Antonio, he'll be shooting 1 plus the penalty.
Sean Elliott may someday get there. He, Anderson, and Strickland have really struggled with their shot. Sean, as you saw, 3 of 13. Willie 7 of 18. Strickland 3 of 10. (97-85). 4 minutes remaining. Hawks going for their first sweep of the Spurs since 87-88. They split the last 2 years, and they split all 20 meetings during the decade of the 80s. Rivers. Rebound Pressey. Looks for the outlet. Not there. Atlanta consistently beating the Spurs down the floor. Rejection. Wilkins again. Strickland got it knocked to him. And Robinson elevating before Dominique could do it one more time.
Nobody was going to get that one.
10-point game. Spurs were within 7 when the Atlanta streak started. Now the Spurs have regained some of their equilibrium. This won't help, though. Foul on Pressey's his 4th. Got to start thinking about 3-pointers pretty soon. The Spurs had maybe their best shot, their best 3-point shooting of all year last night because they hit so many when it counted. Elliott with a late 3, Strickland an early 3 in overtime. And they both played a big part of the win. Their team percentage isn't that bad. 36% makes it a worthwhile shot. Anything over than 33%, and it's worth attempting. Wilkins makes the margin 12 again. to the double teams every time Robinson touches the ball, and just too quick. 35 for David. He and Wilkins have had quite a duel. Wilkins has 38.
Well, he was moving away from Dominique that time, so Dominique couldn't help out on contact.
The double team. Neat goes underneath. Rivers swatted away by the Admiral with 5 on the shot clock.
Real good job by Dominique Wilkins as he sees the double team coming, finding the guy that's open underneath. At that time, it was Doc Rivers.
Timeout Atlanta. 2:32 remaining. The Spurs hoping for a miracle.
You're watching Spurs basketball on Home Sports Entertainment.
Some investment publications are at home on coffee tables. Barron's is destined for desks. While some publications serve as ornaments, Barron's serves as a tool. And while some barely get read, Barron's gets ruthlessly exploited by readers in search of insightful stock picks, undiscovered values, new offerings, and a wealth of other information you won't find anywhere else. So while some investment publications help furnish your home, Barron's helps furnish your portfolio. And that makes it very beautiful indeed. Subscribe now to Barron's and get 13 weeks for only $28 with a money-back guarantee. Call toll-free 800-232-2700. That's 800-232-2700.
Time now for our LA Gear Unstoppable Player of the game, Dominique Wilkins, off the miss by Doc Rivers. 2 of his 38 points, and Dominique is our LA Gear Unstoppable Player of the game. 12 of 21 from the field, 13 of 14 at the line, and throwing 8 rebounds. 99-89 with 2:32 remaining.
Probably a few blocked shots we haven't mentioned either.
Oh, definitely.
He's really played a spectacular game tonight.
5 on the shot clock after the Atlanta timeout. And the outside shot falls for Sidney Moncrief. All 7 of his points in the 4th quarter. Assuming they get to the playoffs, I think that's when Moncrief's value really shoots up for Atlanta. All that experience and veteran savvy.
I think having both Moncrief and Malone sitting over there available to play extended minutes in shorter term situations really has to make the Hawks feel optimistic. I mean, here Ramil Robinson has played most of this game, and but finishing this game we've got Sidney Moncrief.
And his former Buck teammate Pressey's 3-pointer makes it a 9-point margin. Made him give it up this time. Moncrief, the Spur, they leave alone, and off the top of the backboard it falls. That sums up the night for Atlanta.
Years and years of practice to get that to happen.
3-pointer missed by Strickland. A minute 35 remaining. Atlanta by 11. They will sweep the Spurs for the first time in 3 years. They'll continue to sweep the Midwest Division. John Concact. Timeout, Larry Brown. 1:20 remaining. And the Hawks are finishing this game the way they started it. Inspired effort tonight by a club that's going to win their 10th straight at home, their 7th straight overall, their 15th out of the last 18. San Antonio will lose for only in time of their last 11 road games, and the 6th time in 18 road games overall. One more reminder, back home against Orlando Thursday, tickets are available for that game. The Arena box office or any Rainbow Ticketmaster outlet, or call 554-SPUR for ticket information. And our Amalie Oil play of the game this evening. Not surprisingly, we again go to the vault and come up with this highlight in the first half. Dominique Wilkins with that 360 to get away from Elliott, then that quick shot to get it over David Robinson, and that is our Emily Oil play of the game. Now, the bigger picture for the Spurs has to come down to this. They've only played 12 home games. This is their 18th road game. They're the only first-place team in any division that hasn't played more at home than on the road, and it's not even close. They'll wind up this incredibly tough stretch of 11 of 15 on the road, 12 and 3. I don't think Larry Brown in his wildest dreams expected a 12 and 3 stretch when you look at the injuries they've had to overcome and the fact that they've been gone with so many tough back-to-back situations against so many formidable teams. Now it starts to break in their favor. The schedule over the next 17 games has them at home 14 times.
Well, it's a different kind of a game playing at home. I mean, on the opposite side, Atlanta has been home a lot over the last couple, 4 weeks. And they're playing like they've been in this building a lot lately. They're really confident shooting the ball extremely well.
Spurs thinking about three-pointers. Pressey, another one. Paul Pressey now 10 of 22 hitting three-pointers this year. Back within 10. Spurs go to the pressure. Moncrief has seen that a time or two. And Atlanta very efficiently playing keep away. And there's Wilkins. 40 points. Anybody that takes it in on David Robinson that way deserves special recognition. Not many would even try it, much less do it. And he did it.
This is a highlight film right here. Super play by Dominique Wilkins.
Dominique within 5 of his season high of 45 points, and they take him out to get him the standing O. .40 points, 8 rebounds. And the Spurs go deep into the bench and turn it over. Shinsis, Higgins, Massenberg, Willie Anderson, and now Sean Elliott in to replace Paul Pressey, who has done what he could tonight with 18 points off the bench. .107.95 Atlanta. Deep away, 8 on the shot clock. Wayne Farrell back in. Long one by Willis will not crawl in, and Shinsis has the board. Steal, Farrell. Well, the Spurs did make a run. They came from 18 back to within 7. Elliott adds a three-pointer, but the Hawks never let him get any closer. And the Hawks will make it 10 straight at home, 7 straight overall, as they take the 2-game series from the San Antonio Spurs this year. Our final tonight, 109-98. And Bob Weiss beats his former team twice as this season series concludes here tonight. The Spurs come through that stretch, though, 12 of their last 15 against brutal scheduling. And they finally get to come home now. Our final again, Atlanta 109-98. Back for a final word after this.
I grew up in Texas.
On this, our 20th anniversary, Southwest Airlines proudly unfurls Lone Star One, a high-flying tribute to the indomitable spirit that makes Texas a true state of mind.
Shining in the Texas sky, the Lone Star is flying high.
Hey, you look like an avid sports fan.
How would you like to win $500?
Do what?
$500. All you have to do is answer 6 sports trivia questions.
Like what?
Well, questions on football, soccer, tennis, basketball, golf.
Baseball?
Yeah, baseball too. All sports. Just answer 6 trivia questions.
$500? What are the questions?
I can't tell you. Just call 1-900